Hey guys, now that you've taken a good look at yourself, we want to kind of move on to the next thing to help you achieve your dreams and goals, and that is to define your dreams and goals, right? A lot of people will talk about all the great things that they would enjoy having, but they never really shoot for it, right? So that tells me either they don't understand how to get there or don't believe they can get there, or they don't truly want it, right? So you need to define, you need to take some time and just start writing or recording on your phone or something, and just go over the things that you really want. You know, what do you dream about and talk about and kind of think about frequently that would add to your life, right? As I've talked about in other videos, you know, a lot of people will talk about, man, what I would do with $1,000,000, right? How great life would be with $1,000,000. But they don't spend like a millionaire. They spend like a poor person, and they don't chase a career path or a business opportunity that would bring $1,000,000. They just stick with what they already know, right? So there's a lot of things we'll talk about that are not actually dreams and goals. They're literally like fantasy, right? Just like, which is fine sometimes to kind of just think about what it would be like if, right? But here we're talking about things that you actually want. Like, what are the things that you would love to have in your life that you're willing to work for? So start writing those down, you know. Some people are like, well, I dream about too many things, right? Well, right now, to start out with, just start writing them down, right? So what are you passionate about? Let's think about, now that you've looked at yourself and you've kind of prioritized a few things in your life, and you know that, like, okay, you know, my family's most important. I want to have money because I want to vacation with my family and buy specific experiences with them, right? I want the security of, you know, maybe one of my family members gets sick or in a car accident or some really unfortunate big event. I'll have access to the best medical professionals around. I'll have freedom to be there. I don't have to worry about going to work, whatever. Like, what are your dreams, right? These are just a few things that, you know, might be on your list, but what are your things? What are you passionate about? What are you good at? So what are you good at? Like, think about what people that around you tell you you're good at. What do you feel like you personally perform well at? What do people that don't necessarily like you think you're good at, right? What have you always been interested in? Like, don't think about, well, go all the way back to your childhood or, you know, your teenage years. I've heard people talk about, like, when you were 14, that's when you were who you really are, right? Because you hadn't been hammered down by the world yet to tell you that certain things were or were not possible. So what did you like at age 14? And, you know, those younger years of your life as you're growing up and you're capable but haven't been out in the world yet. Those dreams and goals that you had back then, and what have you always kind of been interested in, right? What types of things bring you purpose and joy in your life? Are there specific people or experiences or attributes and things that bring you real joy that you want to experience over and over and over, or maintain throughout your life, right? What are those things? What could you talk about, research and read about, and you know, watch shows on, and whatever? What topics just intrigue you that you could just talk about it all day with a friend? You know, like when I get around my brother, we basically have like 2 or 3 conversations. We just have the same ones over and over and over, with a few new experiences here and there. And it's actually laughable to think about it, but we enjoy getting together. You know, one of our favorite things to do together is we just go out fishing at this lake near his house, and we you know, just basking in the sun, laughing our heads off, talking about nutrition and exercise and money and wealth, and you know, there's only a handful of other things that we even bring into the conversation, and yet we laugh our heads off. We have a great time. We share, some time together, and it's like we're both just so like entrenched in these types of conversations, right? So what things do you talk about with those kinds of people in your life? I'm really tight with my brother, and we have a ton in common, and these are the things that we could talk about all day, all night. There's been times where we've ended up sitting in the hot tub for like 3 hours or so just talking about this type of stuff, and we get out and we're like all, it's like, man, our skin's all dried out and everything, but we just get going, right? What do you get going on? And just talk about it, man. I used to talk about the stock market endlessly, and I still enjoy it, and I have a good time trading and watching stocks, and I check it regularly. I probably check the stock market 5 times a day. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but that's something that sparks me, right? Gets me going. So what people and friends do you know that know a lot about this, whatever you're interested in, right? Who could you go talk to for a resource in like getting started? What's going on there? Help me get started. What direction do I need to go? What do you know about this topic? Get going, start talking, get dream building and thinking about places you need to go, books you need to read, resources on the topics, right? I've almost never heard a really successful person say they don't set goals, right? It just doesn't happen. People that don't set goals never achieve anything great. They sort of wander through life. I was listening to Jim Rohn, and he was talking about people that like some of the joy of having a list is to check it off, right? Like just having your list gives you the opportunity to be like, man, look at all, like got that, even if they're just small things throughout the day, right? Hopefully you've got big things, middle things, and small things, right? And you can go through the day or the week or the month and just go, man, look at all these things I checked off. Like I'm the man. I'm just taking out all these things that needed to happen, that I wanted to happen, and they're happened, right? He says some people live such mediocre lives they don't know if they're going forward, backward, up, or down. They go home and say, well, another day done. Might as well plug into my TV and numb out until my alarm goes off in the morning, right? It's like, how sad of a life is that? Like, define the things that you want and go for those things, and you'll find joy in it. Like you'll achieve greatness for you. That's another thing as you're setting goals. This is you. This is not Michael Jordan's goals or Warren Buffett's or Bill Gates or the bully down the street. Like, these are your goals. So some people are really, what we would call a tech geek or whatever, and they have some dream or goal or vision as far as the tech world goes. I'm not that techie. I don't even catch the vision, right? There's a few things in technology that I love and I use and I want to innovate, but I don't even catch the vision for some of these things, right? I've always been in sports. I came from a small town. I'm really into investing and stock market and business building and like analytical, right? So like I get into this world, and I have dreams, visions, goals, things I want to do in that thing, and I share these with some people, and they're just kind of like, are you done talking yet? Because this is the most boring conversation I've ever had, right? Well, other people get amped with me, right? I have one friend, almost the only time I talk to him, just about, is either holidays or when I've got some new business idea, and I'm like, I got to call Jim. And I call him up, and we'll talk for an hour or two just about all the potential barriers, the things to come over, the reason why it's a good idea, who else is in the market, right? It's like there's just very little small talk. Like, how you doing? Good. Oh, good. Glad you're doing well. Hey, so I got this idea. Whoop, and we just go, and we'll just dream build together. We'll just get going together on it, right? I've got friends like that that I can just go to and we'll just launch, right? So what are your goals? What are your visions? Don't worry about the rest of the world. Don't worry if it seems weird or strange or kind of a lowly goal, right? Like, you don't need to be Michael Jordan with your own brand of clothing making, $40 million a year. that's what he's good at, and that's what his dream was. That's why he spent his entire career managing his brand. Nobody managed their brand better than Jordan from a young age in the spotlight like he did. And he was very conscious and aware of it. And he has made more money in 1 year than he made in his entire basketball career. But that was his path, right? What's your path? Find out. Don't be so mediocre that you don't know if you're going up or down or forward or backwards or whatever, you know? Did you get closer today? So I just kind of listed out, we'll just throw out a list of reasons. Like, there are a ton of reasons why you should set goals and write them down. But here's just a few, right? Give yourself a clear direction of where you're going. Because here's the thing. You'll have a dream or a goal or something that you would like to achieve, but you don't know anyone that's gone there, and you don't know where to start and whatever, right? So if you can define, like, what exactly is it that I want? Well, you might not even be able to define it exactly, but if you can sort of box it in a little bit, contain it a bit, you can find a direction how to start that way, right? And half of the battle is just getting started. And once you're started, you can make changes and adjust along the way. But if you don't have a good enough direction to even get started in, you'll struggle to start, and that's half the battle, right? So give yourself a clear direction. Give yourself a way to gauge yourself. Check, your checks list. We already kind of talked about that. Help you find people that are also interested in it and that might be already going down that road or want to go down that road, and you can collaborate and work together and bounce ideas off each other. Help you find mentors, which is potentially the biggest one, right? If you can find mentors in that industry, it will take you from point A to point B so much faster than just figuring it all out on your own. But if you don't know where you're headed, you'll never get a good mentor, because mentors are typically people who have been somewhat successful in that area, right? And they're willing to help you, but they want to see some fire in you, and they want to see some direction in you, and they want to see some goals and some visions, right, that you are passionate about. And that's another one of the reasons that you need to set goals. You need reasons to get yourself out of bed and work all day and be happy about it, right? Some people are so sad about their days that they can't wait to get back to their TV and numb out, or their alcohol, or whatever their numbing mechanism is, right? They can't wait to, only they're watching the clock and they're going, man, I only have to pretend to work for 3 more hours and then I can get back, plug back into the numbness, right? What a sad life. Mentors want to see somebody that has reasons, right? So give yourself reasons to get up. A lot of people say, do you tap dance to work every day? Or do you get up excited? Or, do you jump out of bed in the morning? Well, most people don't. If you can become one of those people, you're on your way, because you've got enough reason and enough passion to make it happen no matter what, right? Because we all face barriers and struggles and the unknown and fear and anxiety and all the difficulties of pursuing something we're unsure about. We all face it. But some people get up so excited to get through it that they can hardly sleep at night, and they're going to go through it no matter what, right? You need to be that person. So those are a few. Let's see, help yourself in planning, right? Part of building any business or any game plan is you've got to have a plan. It's the plan itself that helps you kind of get going and take, each step, take a bite at a time. Helps you ask the right questions, right? Once again, Jim Rohn, he's got so much good stuff. You should listen to Jim Rohn. He's talking about questions, right? Asking good questions. He's like, I don't know how it works, but it works. The whole Bible phrase where you say, ask and you shall receive. He's like, I don't get it. I can't explain it, but somehow if you ask, you receive. And asking the right questions is even better than just asking random questions, right? So you need to know you need to know what questions to ask. Like, I'm going to that point, right, on my map. What do you think, intelligent person, successful person, is my next phase, or what is my next barrier I'll come up against, or how do I accomplish this, or how do I beat this, right? What's the data say? Or I've collected these things. I know this about my audience, but I'm not sure how to capture this aspect of their, I need to get their attention in this way, or how do I sell them a product without like bugging them or annoying them or running them off, right? Stuff like this. You might have these questions. You got to have good questions asked, right? So sit down and write out all your goals. Just fill it up. Like some people will have like one long-term goal, one 2-year goal or whatever, and 1 or 2 short-term goals. That's just not enough to get amped about. Like, this life is so much bigger than like 3 things on your checklist. And if it's not, you're missing out. Like, you need to come up with a huge list of things that you want to achieve in your daily life, a year or 2 down the road, and long-term vision, right? Maybe the long-term vision is more just like a sort of a holistic type goal, so that maybe you don't have like 95 goals for your long-term, right? Like, who was it? Dale Carnegie or something? His long-term goal was to spend the first half of his life accumulating wealth and to spend the last half of his life giving it away. So it's very broad, right? But it's a cool goal, and within that, you could set so many daily goals and sort of, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-year goals, and find a ton of peace and happiness and joy in that, right? So your daily goals need to have lots of stuff, and it could even be the same thing every day. If it's things like, I want to have a connecting interaction with this person today. Well, you might want to have that every single day of your life, right? Like with me and my kids, I like to spend a lot of time connecting with my kids on their level, right? Because they're little. They're not at this place where we're talking philosophy, finance, and money, I've introduced them to things like the stock market, but they don't really get it, right? So I want to go out and play basketball on the tramp with my son, or play Sheriff Callie with my daughter. She's only 2, so I want to get on her level and create that bond every single day. So it's something that's like automatic to me. It's like as soon as I get home, I can't wait to do it, and I'm going to do it anyway. But what if it's on my list and I can just go, man, I checked off one of the most important things in my life today, right? It's important. You need to do that. So make sure you've gone through the things in step 1 to analyze yourself and find out who you are, what you are, habits you've created, where they came from, what they're doing to you now, how they're beneficial or non-beneficial for you today, what things that you would like to change, what things you have changed. You got to go through all this stuff. Self-awareness is the biggest piece. It's the biggest piece of finding joy and success in this life. So do that. Then as you are courageously, writing your goals, don't worry about how it's gonna turn out, or what others might say, or the fears you might have of going for these things. We're not even doing that. We're just writing them down. We're just thinking of the things that will make you happy. So go ahead and do that. As always, there's lots of resources down on this page, which I continue to add to. So just because you've been through these steps once doesn't mean there might not be new things. I like to post articles, books you might want to read, talks from other people, or even new videos that I come out with that I'll add to these pages as appropriate, right? So just because you've been through them once doesn't mean there might not be some new stuff later on. So carry on, use all the resources. I'll see you in the next step.